Minecraft is in a dire need of an ocean update. Personally, I'd like Mojang to add an underwater dimension. It would make the game feel fresh again, just like when they did the Nether update. An underwater update is something that makes sense, that can be added in-game. If they add a new underwater dimension, it could feel very nice to play through it, instead of making a world like the Nether or the Overworld where you have a bunch of different biomes. Here you basically start at surface level, and your objective is to go down until you reach the bottom. I made a drawing of my IDs, which contains 6 biomes. It goes from y equals 0 to y equal minus 256. So when you spawn in this dimension, you start on surface level. There are 3 biomes linked to the surface. The first one is the underwater forest, the second one is called the shallows, and the third one the coral reef. First, I'll be talking about the underwater forest. So, in every dimension, except the end, you need a food source and wood, which you can both get in the overworld and in the nether. For now, you don't have that in the end, but maybe they will add a new tree type after the end update, we don't really know. But here, if you want wood, you need to find an underwater forest biome. The biome starts at surface level and goes all the way down to minus 138 in wild level. In this biome you can find various new types of trees that all can grow underwater, which isn't something you can find in the overworld currently. I think it's a neat, cool mechanic. And the type of wood changes as you go deeper. So on surface level you will find green wood. Once you reach a minus 64 in depth, you can start to find redwood, and near the bottom of the biome, minus 128 in depth, you can find purple wood. I know purple wood would fit better in the end, but since we might not get an end update anytime soon, I'm putting it here. Outside of that, you can also find a bunch of mobs here, mainly tree turtles. So those look like regular turtles, except that on their back there are little trees growing, and if you right click with an axe or a brush you can get some wood, and if you right click with an axe or a brush on a tree turtle you can get some wood as well as turtle scutes or even minerals in some rare cases. For this mob I took inspiration from the reef back in Subnautica. And if you attack the tree turtle it will retaliate, it will bite, and it doesn't drop anything if you kill it. The goal is not to kill it, it's to right click on it to get some wood. Outside of this you can also meet oxygen eels. So those eels are harmless and they drop oxygen bubbles around them, and if you touch the bubbles it will replenish your oxygen bar, which is something that helps you stay underwater for as long as possible. The last creature that you can meet here are called drowners, and they are basically jellyfishes. They move very slowly and they poison you if you touch their tentacles, so you need to be careful when navigating around here. If you kill it though, it will drop a poison sample, which is something that you can use to craft poison related items, and it's basically an alternative to the spider eye. This biome goes all the way down to y minus 128, which is one of the way to get into the abyss biome, which I will talk about later. The second biome that you may find at surface level is called the shallows. This biome is not very deep, it goes all the way down to minus 64, so only 64 blocks in depth. It's not that much, but it's already something. Here you can find small patches of island above the water. Below it you will find some small fishes. Since this is a new dimension, I was thinking maybe the fishes would be different than the one you can find in the overworld, so it wouldn't be cod or salmon, it would be something else. I don't know. You can also find squid here as well as nautiluses. Those are regular mobs that you can find in the overworld, and I think it would be cool to put them here on surface level. Since this is an ocean dimension, finding a nautilus and riding it to go wherever you go in the dimension would make sense. Additionally, in this biome you may also find seaweed, just like in the overworld, as well as oxygen plants, who may drop oxygen bubbles around them, and you can use those bubbles to replenish your oxygen bar, just like with the oxygen hill. This biome is meant to be pretty easy. It's a surface biome, it doesn't go very deep, so there is not that much danger. However, the third biome that is linked to the surface, the coral reef, is a bit more dangerous. Here in this biome there are 3 mobs that can spawn. The first one, and the one that you may find the most here, is the clamper. It's pretty much a crab, except one of its claws is much bigger than the second one. It has the same concept as the crab that was revealed in Minecraft Live like 2 years ago for the Minecraft mob vote. It would work similarly, it would be an hostile mob, and if you kill it, it drops its claw, which you can use to place block further away. since Mojang doesn't want players to harm animals in real life, this mob would not be called crab, but it would be a clamper, and it wouldn't look like a crab exactly. Additionally, in this biome, since it is called the coral reef, you would find coral blocks, just like in the overworld, as well as giant corals, the deeper you go. So those would basically be coral trees, big coral trees, and inside of those coral trees you may find clamper nests, inside of which you may find some unique loot. The loot you can find inside can be things like wood, fishes, crab claws, seaweed, or maybe even things like turtle scutes, for example. Or why not pufferfishes, so you can feed your nautilus. Not far from the giant corals, and on the bottom of this biome, which is -64, for those that forgot. You can also find an adult version of the clamper. I got this idea from Hollow Knight, because in Hollow Knight and in Hollow Knight Silksong, you will often meet small creatures, and later on in the game you will find the adult version, which is much stronger to fight and harder to defeat. So here in this biome on the bottom, you will find giant clampers. They work the same way as the regular ones, but they are slower, stronger, so they hit much harder. And one thing that I liked about this biome is that the clamper is small, so it can like jump around, but the giant clamper is too big and it can't really do that. So when you fight a clamper, it's more like you try to hit it while it's jumping around. You know, it's agile and stuff. The giant clamper does not do that. They hit hard, they don't move very fast, and they are hard to kill. Anyway, the third and last mob you will find here is the coral fish. This is a real life mob, but it's pretty rare, just like nautilus is, and basically it poisons you if you touch it. So it's similar to a pufferfish, but it's not really a pufferfish. Okay, so those are the 3 surface biomes. Now let's talk about the 2 middle depths biomes. So since the underwater forest goes all the way down to -128, there are only 2 other biomes that go to these depths. We have the Lost Graveyard and the Magma depths. First, let's talk about the Lost Graveyard. So this biome is meant to be a bit spooky. Here you can find zombie nautiluses roaming around, as well as a fish I called vape fish. No, it's not a bad pun, it's basically a fish that is bloated, similarly to a pufferfish, but except here it's like the opposite of a pufferfish. You know, a pufferfish starts small and then it bloats itself, but here it actually starts bloated, and if you get close to it or if you attack it, it will expel poisonous gas from its body, so it will be called small and retreat, and you will have a cloud of poison. You need to escape to not get poison. If you kill them, they will also release a poison cloud. So that mob is hostile. It's not meant to be a big threat here. It's annoying, it's spooky, it's poison. Now, the other creature that you can find here is the ghoulfish. This one is fish, but it's also an undead mob, so it's basically a giant barracuda. Barracuda are already big, but this one is really a big mob. It's a big underwater monster, and it's undead. And if it sees you, it will just scream right at you to try and bite you. It has a lot of health, it deals a lot of damage, and what you're supposed to do here is that you can hide. So in this biome, which is called the Lost Graveyard, there are a lot of bone structure, just like in the Sulsan Valley biome in the Nether. You can find in tiny spaces, and this fish cannot follow you in the spaces, and then you can attack it, and it's not able to retaliate. If you kill the ghoulfish, it will drop rotten flesh and fish scales. You can use the fish scales to repair armor. I thought that was a pretty good idea. And you know, using netherite ingots or diamond to repair your very expensive armors, I think that's annoying. So yeah, using something else to repair them, I think that's a good idea. Additionally, I thought it would be a cool idea to have broken boat and wreckage all around this biome, and inside of those you could find loot, you know. I had an idea for an interesting loot in this biome. So you know how in Minecraft you can find like golden apples, golden carrots, and I thought, what if you find a golden fish? And this golden fish is not a fish that spawns regularly. It's a special loot that you can find in some hidden places, just like the broken boat and wreckage in the Lost Graveyard biome. The golden fish, it will cure you of all negative effects. The difference with the milk is that the milk also makes your positive effects disappear. The golden fish only makes the negative one disappear. And since this dimension has a lot of creatures that will poison you, like the droner, the vape fish, and the coral fish, the golden fish is really useful. Now let's talk about the other middle depths biome. It's the magma depths. So the problem in Minecraft is that there is no lava underwater, because it turns instantly into obsidian and cobblestone. So I thought, what if we had super lava? So it's basically just like lava, except it's very red, bright red instead of orange, and it doesn't turn into obsidian underwater. So we would could have lava flowing underwater. And I thought that would be really cool, just like in Subnautica when you find the lava castle, you know. So yeah, the magma depths is basically that. It's a biome where you have lava flowing everywhere. You may also find a new type of fish called magma fish. Also took inspiration from Subnautica here. And the magma fish is a regular fish, but it's red because of magma. And it can also swim through lava. I thought that would be cool. And I also thought, what if you could harness lava? Well, not harness, but you know, if you have a bucket, you can get water inside or lava inside. And here it's super lava, so you need like a super bucket. So I thought you need to make a bucket out of something other than iron, a really strong bucket in which you can put super lava, so you can transport it into the overworld and you can make builds where you have lava underwater. So this bucket I thought would be made out of titanium, and you could find titanium in this dimension, so in this biome or in the abyss biome, and I will talk about the abyss biome in like 2 minutes. Now quickly before that I will talk about the excavator. The excavator is a cousin of the hermit crab, so it's a crustacean that hides in its shell if you attack it. It can drill minerals and rocks, and sometimes it will produce an ingot of the same material that it was mining. So this creature, you have no interest in attacking it because it drops nothing, but if you let it live and you just follow it quietly, it can sometimes drop ingots from drilling rocks and minerals around here. Additionally, in the magma depths, there are a lot of minerals all around, like iron, coal, lapis lazuli, diamond, stuff like that. It's basically the biome you need to go to if you want to get mineral. Now, let's talk about the abyss biome. When you reach y-128, below that, until you reach the bottom of the ocean, which is at minus 256 in depth, there is the abyss biome, so 128 blocks in total. Here you can find a lot of things, but the first noticeable thing is that there are no plants growing around here. Light is none. There's almost no light sources here. Like, you know, when you're in the caves, you don't see anything, it's dark. But here in the abyss biome, it's very, very dark. You cannot put torches because you need blocks to put torches in them on. And when you put water on torches, they go away. So you can't put torches here. The only light source is the light fish. It's a very, very small fish that emits light, and you can use it to swim around. Careful though, because there are a lot of hostile mobs around here, and the first one is the barnacle. So if you remember the 2017 mob vote and the losers of that mob vote, the barnacle was one of them. It's basically an underwater mob that is hostile, that looks like a squid, that uses its tongue to drag you down in the depths and drown you. Here it works exactly the same, basically. So it's a dangerous hostile mob, and if you kill it, it will drop tentacles. You can eat the tentacles, or you can keep them for something else, and I will talk about that something else later. Now in this biome you can also find titanium. You reach the bottom. It's pretty rare, pretty scarce, but it's always exposed, so it's not that hard to find. You just need to swim a bit, and since you don't see anything, it's not that easy to find. The two other mobs that spawn here are the isopods and the giant isopods, and the giant isopods are the adult version of the isopod. So the isopod don't do much. They are small mobs. They can try to attack you, but they don't deal that much damage, and you can kill them very easily, and they don't drop anything on death. They're just annoying. However, when you attack one of them, it will cry for help, and a giant isopod, so an adult version, will come for you to kill you. Giant isopods are really big, they are really strong, they have a lot of health, and deal a lot of damage. But they are slow. Basically, if you want to compare it with the overworld, the Ravager is the equivalent of the Ghoulfish, but the Ghoulfish is underwater. You know, Ravager it's not that fast, but it's not very slow. And the giant isopod is basically like an iron golem. A lot of health, a lot of damage, but it's slow. But since it's swimming, it's coming for you. Once you defeat enough giant isopods and enough barnacles, you will get their loot, so tentacles for the barnacles, and for the isopod you will get isopod shell. You can use both of those to create a special block. So once you get 3 tentacles from killing barnacles as well as 6 isopod shells, you can craft a giga tentacle block. Place 4 of those in an X shape, and at the center of it you can place the Ghoulfish heart, which is something the Ghoulfish can drop, but it's a very rare item. If you do this, it will summon the Kraken. Of course, the Kraken needs to be a boss if we make an underwater dimension. So the Kraken, how does it work? It's a giant squid, like it's very, very big, and it's armored. Yes, because a regular Kraken wasn't enough. It has a bunch of attacks. So it can strike you with a tentacle, dealing heavy knockback. It can do a charge attack. It can release ink to blind you. I mean, in the Abyss it's already dark, but you can also summon the boss somewhere else than the Abyss, so it has an ink attack to blind you in case you're fighting it on surface level, for example. Another attack it can use is when it charges up energy and releases it to deal damage around it. It's an area attack, basically. And another attack that I thought would be cool is that since you are using the Ghoulfish heart to spawn the Kraken, and the Ghoulfish is an undead mob, the Kraken could turn undead midway through the fight, which means at the start of the fight it would be weak to impaling on Trident, and midway through the fight it would suddenly become weak to smite. And the reason for this sudden turn is that it could use undead attacks, and what I mean by undead attacks is that I thought, what if the tentacles start detaching themselves from the Kraken's body and they have a will on their own, like you fight the Kraken and you also have to fight the tentacle at the same time. I thought that would be pretty cool, you know? And there's a lot of boss fights in gamings where you have to fight a boss and its minions, and here the minions are the boss himself. I thought that would be cool, but tell me what you think in the comments. Now, lastly, if you kill the boss, I don't know what it would drop. It could drop something cool, yeah, but I have no idea for that. I just thought it would be cool to have a Kraken boss. Since there's only the Wither and the Ender Dragon for now as bosses in Minecraft, well, a new boss, that's, yeah, 3 boss instead of 2, yeah, amazing. Now that's it for this video, for all the biomes and for this underwater dimension. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't hesitate to tell me what you think about it in the comments. It's interesting, I like it. And yeah, if you find my drawing really good, don't hesitate to tell me that it looks good. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!